views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hola everyone, welcome to Open BxRx Remote, brought to you from my living workspace, Chari Executive Suite, where we continue to provide you with information regarding COVID-19, along with our New York State of quarantine and the impact it's having on our community. I'm Rhina Valentin, your host of Café con Leche every Friday. Here's what's coming up in today's show. Leading things off, we'll speak to Assemblywoman Karines Reyes of the 87th District about her position as a mother, assemblywoman, and a nurse serving on the front line during this pandemic. After that, acknowledging May is Mental Health Awareness Month, we'll discuss ways to cope with stress during these uncertain times when we speak with psychotherapist Shemah Williams, director of the psychiatric department at St. Barnabas Hospital. Then we'll find out how you can celebrate Best of Bronx Week virtually when we speak to the Bronx Tourism Executive Director, Olga Luz Tirado. Plus, we'll hear about the 5th annual FUERZAfest, Queerantine Fuerza, the Hispanic Federation's annual LGBTQ Arts Festival, presenting LGBTQ artists and performers when we speak with Fernando Aguilar. Later on in the show, Bobby C brings us an up-to-date with the latest headlines in the world of sports. And lastly, we have the New York City Dance Parade, who is not letting this pandemic rain on their parade. We'll hear about the new technology they'll be using to present thousands of dancers in this virtual parade. Then we close out with a special performance by belly dancer Janelle Isis. So sit back y prepárate. All this and more is headed your way, because now we are officially open. Welcome to Open. I'm Rhina Valentin, your host of Café con Leche for the next hour, encouraging you to get social with us, especially during these social distancing times. Tweet us and follow us on Instagram at BronxNet TV and like us on Facebook at Open BronxNet Television. And of course, while you're there, follow moi on Twitter, FB, Instagram, Insta Stories, and LinkedIn at Rhina Valentin. So our first guest is an assembly member, a mother, and a registered nurse who has been juggling all three of these hats while serving on the front line to help the Bronx community during this crisis. Although the COVID cases seem to be slightly decreasing in some areas, the health disparities in the Bronx are still prevalent. And joining us to tell us more, please welcome Assemblywoman of the 87th District, Karines Reyes. Hello, Karines.
Hi, Rita. How are you? ¿Cómo estás?
Karines.
Sí.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well. I'm healthy, and that's a blessing. So I am well.
Well, first, I want to applaud you and say thank you. Thank you for choosing to put on that Superwoman cape and jump into the front lines after already being in a position as an assemblywoman. Apparently you're a nurse first, rather you're a mother first and then a nurse, and then serving the your district. So let's talk a little bit about what made you decide to do that.
Well, you know, the Bronx has been one of the hardest hit areas in New York City in terms of COVID-19. And particularly early on in this pandemic, late March, they were asking for health professionals that were either retired or no longer working to jump back in. And for me, this was the opportunity to, you know, do my part, put in my little grain of salt in a way that it was different and that I felt really touched the lives of the people in my community. And that's by going back to my first career as a nurse.
And so you are still on duty. And when did you decide to jump back in?
Late March. I want to say my first shift was March 27th or 28th. I can't remember exactly, but it was that weekend. that I went and started working my shifts again.
And so are we now? How's it looking in the hospital?
Definitely better. This past weekend, they didn't need me all weekend, which was a good relief to hear that they had enough staff, and that is a very good sign for the Bronx and for our hospitals. Unfortunately, like you did mention, the healthcare disparities are still prevalent, and that's something that we have been contending with for many, many years. And I think that this current pandemic has really brought to light what we in the Bronx have been sounding the alarm about for a very long time, that health our health is not equitable. It's not There's no equity in our healthcare, and our disparities are huge, and that we need to look at how we address health outcomes in the Bronx in a very different and unique way, particularly after this pandemic.
So how has serving as a nurse contributed to your position as an assembly member in being a voice for that?
Well, my healthcare background has always informed my work as an assembly member. I think it's important that we continue to advocate for the expansion of healthcare. I see healthcare and healthcare access as a human right and not a privilege, and it should be afforded to everybody, regardless of their ability to pay, whether they're employed or not employed, and regardless of their immigration status. Because the reality is that when our communities are unhealthy, the disparities are so much more than just health, right? It becomes something that is really touches the lives and every aspect of the lives of people in our communities. So we should always look at health first. And I think that has always informed my policy and my drive for serving the community as a legislator.
So let's talk about the preventional aspect of it, as well as the differences in insurance coverage, because that's what this conversation is about.
Right.
It just baffles me that people are going to be treated differently based on the insurance they have and the type of coverage they carry.
Yeah, and many people in our communities for years have chosen how they access preventative primary care based on their coverage, because just because you have coverage through an employer doesn't mean that that is total and covers everything. So for many people, even a primary care visit or a well care visit for their children or themselves requires a copay that oftentimes they cannot afford. We have a lot of employees who pay almost $200, $300 a week or every 2 weeks for healthcare coverage, and on top of that, they might have copays and deductibles, and that is really because we have a for-profit driven healthcare system in terms of health insurance coverage, right? And we need to look at how we make that a public system that is not profit driven, that covers everyone the same, and everybody has access to care regardless
Right.
of what that looks like.
Right. And the same goes for pharmaceuticals, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so my next question is with regards to this antibody testing. So what is your opinion on that matter, and how important is it for people to be tested, and what exactly are we gaining from having everyone test?
Well, this novel virus, there are a lot of uncertainties with it, right? And even with antibody testing, the scientists have been saying that we don't know yet what type of how much antibodies in the blood really translates into a true immunity, whether that protects you from reinfection. There's still a lot that we're learning as we go. It's important to know if people do have antibodies, it lets us know that they at some point were infected with the coronavirus, but that doesn't mean that they are in the clear and that they can't get infected again. And I think that it's important for us to continue to practice all the precautions in terms of not getting infected, with the social distancing, wearing a mask, washing our hands often. And for me, hand washing is the most important aspect of this. I think people get a lot of false sense of security when they're outside wearing gloves, and gloves still contribute to cross contamination. I think it's important that people really practice good hand washing. That's before they put on gloves, and especially right after they take them off.
Wonderful. Lovely, lovely, lovely notes taken, and really all going back to basics. And we want to thank you for taking the time from wearing all these multiple hats. Once again, happy belated Mother's Day.
Thank
And
you.
I'm happy you were able to take the weekend off and celebrate your Mother's Day. And thank you once again for being here with us.
Thank you.
All right, you guys, once again, for more on Assemblywoman Karines Reyes, please make sure to follow her on Twitter at Karines Reyes NYC. We do have to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll discuss mental health and COVID-19. Don't go anywhere.
Why should young people care about the spread of coronavirus? Well, we know that people with underlying medical conditions over the age of 60 are at highest risk, but they've got to get it from somebody.
So we're asking everyone to be selfless for others so that we can protect those who are most susceptible.
Not going to bars, not going to restaurants. It all just means physical separation so that you have a space between you and others.
For more information on how you can social distance, please go to coronavirus.gov.
Hey everyone, welcome back to our remote version of Open. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and now more than ever, people's mental health is being affected due to the impact of COVID-19 and the stay-at-home order. And well, you know, many people are scared, stressed, overwhelmed, and they just don't know how to deal with this crisis. So joining us to give us some tips on how to deal with our mental health during these uncertain times, we welcome Director, Department of Psychiatry at St. Barnabas Hospital, Psychotherapist Shemah Williams. Hello, Shemah.
Hi, hello. How are you?
I'm okay, you know, dealing with the self-isolation and trying to make the most out of life nowadays in this new unrealistic reality.
Well, we may have to begin to start looking at it at a realistic reality and what our new normal can be.
I know. And so, you know, myself, I happen to be a meditator. So in being a disciplined meditator, I kind of feel like I am equipped with a means of being able to deal with the self-isolation. But part of the reason, aside from the fact that it is Mental Health Awareness Month, we thought it was important for us to have you on is to possibly give some insight and share, of course, your knowledge on how people can cope with these times, and what type of different exercises they can utilize to just kind of get out of the funk, for lack of a better word.
It is a very, very difficult time. A lot of people are experiencing loss. For those who don't live with anyone, who live alone, they are feeling more isolated. There are different levels of social determinants that really exasperate what the sheltering in place is doing to one's emotional health and physical health. What we do encourage is that you do reach out for help with some support within the community that you live in or with family members. You can create Zoom meetings, you can create Google meetups, FaceTime meetups as a way of sort of interacting with others. You can also take walks in the parks. The parks are now beginning to open up a little bit. It's important, of course, to wear your mask, wear gloves, and continue to utilize the sanitation, the sanitizing that we encourage. But it's important to get out. It's a beautiful day outside, to get some air, get some vitamin D, walk, even if you're by yourself. When you're at home, maybe play music, decide to use a recipe. We have to become a little bit creative in order to break up the monotony, because our lives have really changed. We don't have the same options of going out into the community, taking the train, traveling to different places in the city. So we really have to use what we have to uplift ourselves. Spiritual music, if you are spiritual, you should continue to connect with your church or whatever religious organization you're with. These are just some tips in how to manage your feelings of isolation or anxiety or depression.
So can I ask you what the statistics look like now during these particular times with regards to the impact this whole crisis has had on people's mental health?
I don't have actual numbers, but this is what we can see at St. Barnabas. We are seeing an increase in relapse of substance users. We are also seeing an increase in anxiety symptoms and depression, not only with people who already may have had a diagnosis, but they are starting to have new people who are reaching out to us, because our clinic is open and operational, just as many clinics are reaching out because they're struggling with increased anxiety or new symptoms of anxiety and depression. And I think there's another significant factor that I don't hear a lot of people discussing, and that is grief, because we don't have the same opportunities to bring closure to when we lose someone. And
Right.
even if you didn't lose someone to COVID, maybe they died of another illness, the fact remains that we are not able to have funerals. We are not able to gather with family. You can't even hug your family and, cry, hug, the normal interactions and emotional support that we give each other. We're not able to do it this time. People are literally scheduling and they're scheduling how many minutes you can sit with the person that passed away at the funeral home. So these are the other factors that are impacting people's emotional health as well. So we really have to take a look at that as well in terms of grief.
So because we don't know how much longer this is going to last, before we go, can you just please share what you feel will assist anyone in finding a way to regulate their days? Because it's challenging to live, eat, sleep, and work in the same space, and school, go to school and learn in the same space, and then have the limitations of being able to go out while possibly even having sleepless nights, because I think we're all being impacted in a similar manner.
I agree with you. So as I stated before, I think that just like you would schedule your workday, you can utilize breaks in your workday to do something fun and active and creative with your family or with your spouse or with friends, whether it's through Zoom or Google Meet or Facebook, or if you're by yourself, go outside. It's okay to walk outside, take a walk around your block. You can read a book. You can meditate. You can watch. YouTube has a lot of spiritual affirmations. You can do affirmations. You have to become a little bit more creative. Try a new recipe, but you need to schedule what your day is going to be like every day and try to stick with that schedule so that you do feel uplifted and more positive every day.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for taking the time to share your knowledge with us. I think what I'm getting, at least, and I hope that everyone else is getting, is that this is a perfect opportunity to become a lot more familiar with yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you. All right, you guys, once again, for any health concerns surrounding COVID-19, you can always visit sbhny.org. All right, we do have to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll hear the latest about Bronx Week. Don't go anywhere.
Who's most at risk for coronavirus? People over 65, people with underlying medical conditions like heart disease, chronic lung disease, asthma, diabetes, people undergoing cancer treatment, and people with weakened immune systems. What should you do if you or a loved one is at higher risk? Avoid close contact with people. Avoid crowds. Stay home if you can. Wash your hands frequently. Learn more ways to protect yourself and others at coronavirus.gov.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Open Remote. Bronx Week is, it's this week, and it's an annual event that celebrates the history and culture of the Bronx. It features everything from food, culture, a gala, the Bronx Walk of Fame, and a grand finale parade and celebration. But for the first time in 47 years, the most anticipated event of the year was canceled due to COVID-19, of course, the restrictions, that is. So in honor to celebrate the BronxNet is showcasing some of the best of Bronx Week, and joining us to tell us more, we welcome the Bronx Tourism Council Executive Director, Olga Luz Tirado. Hi, Olga.
Hey, how are you? I put on earrings just for you today.
For me?
Just for you. I don't wear earrings anymore. I'm in the house, but just for you, I put on earrings.
So for me, you got dressed from The waist up?
Stand up. I won't stand up. I promise.
It's really good to see you, honey, because normally we
Oh,
would be out and about running into each
yeah,
other at events, and
yeah,
or this would be the weekend of the ball and the
yep.
parade and the festival. This is the sleepless week is what I call it. Meanwhile,
Yeah,
it's
this
the sleeping week now.
is the sleepy week. Yeah, I mean, this is usually our busiest time of year. This is when my team and I mean, yeah, we're back to back. It's 11 days of back to back events, and yeah, it's usually the busiest time of year. And well, I mean, we're keeping busy, obviously. So what we've decided to do is, every year we celebrate Bronx Week, which is celebrating the best of the Bronx. And so this year, because we can't be together, we decided that we're going to celebrate the best of Bronx Week. So, and this gives us an opportunity to at least celebrate. We have to find ways to continue to celebrate. Life cannot stop as you know it, everything. So
Right.
this is our way of just, keeping the celebration going, keeping the good vibes going. And we can't be together physically, but we're together emotionally, and that's important to us.
Well, it's beautiful that we have BronxNet as an outlet to kind of just share with the public our history, right? So it's kind of like a great opportunity to show this society that is the Bronx, of the
Yeah.
movers and shakers, and people who have really represented the borough with the utmost, prominence. So it's been really. For me, it's always one of my favorite weeks because, like I said, it's the sleepless week, and I'm always
Yeah,
amazed by
yeah,
the work
yeah.
that you all do. It's unbelievable that you have a bronze ball happening on Saturday, and that everybody's up at the wee hours of the morning putting a parade together the following
But yep,
day.
yep, yep. We get at least, maybe we try to rest up for like 2 to 3 hours, and then we're back at it again, making sure that everything is up and running for the grand finale. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and so it's great that the best of has been premiering on BronxNet. However, where does this leave the event itself as a whole for the future? I mean, obviously, you had already decided who was going to be honored this year, which I would love to know if you could share, even though
I am bound by secrecy.
I
Sorry. I took an oath. I took an oath to not tell. Let's just
I
hope that these same people are available next year. So
oh my gosh, yes,
yeah,
because they were already
yeah,
they were already informed that they were going to be honored, right?
yeah,
And then
yeah.
it's been postponed
Hmm.
until
Hmm.
next year, although we still don't even know if next year is even a possibility, right?
Well, I am an optimist, and so I'm gonna say that yes, Bronx Week will be back bigger and stronger in 2021. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And we'll just have to see, what the world has in store for us. They say, you make plans and the universe laughs. So, but I'm really looking forward to starting up again and having an even bigger and better Bronx Week in 2021.
Well, you're definitely going to be revved up for it,
Ah,
right? And
yes.
super,
Yeah.
super duper prepared.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, yeah, I mean, we'll just take everything that we had planned and just move it over.
Right.
Yeah,
And so
yeah,
before we go, just share a little bit about the impact this whole COVID-19 pandemic crisis has had on the tourism of the Bronx. Obviously,
yeah,
nobody's hardly out, but I just wonder,
yeah.
like, what have you been doing from an innovative perspective to attract attention for the Bronx?
Well, we've been working with our cultural partners like the Botanical Garden and the zoo and the Wave Hill and all these other wonderful institutions, and they've shifted everything to virtual. So they do have a couple of virtual offerings, and if you go on to ilovethebronx.com, you'll see some of that. And so for now, that's the way to go. As we start moving forward to reopening, and we don't know when that's going to be, and your guess is as good as mine. We're sort of following all the guidelines, and we're following the governor, we're following the federal government, and trying to see when that's going to happen. But we're preparing, we're preparing sort of things are not going to be the way they were before. It's going to be a totally different, different thing. We're going to have to continue to do social distancing for the foreseeable future. I don't know about you, but I'm really looking forward to the day we can hug again.
Oh my gosh, I am. I'm a hugger.
Yeah, me too. Me too. So what right now what we're doing is that we're working. The Bronx Tourism Council is part of a coalition with NYC and Co. Where we're going to be, working on those types of decisions. How can we open in a way that is safe for our people? We want everyone to enjoy themselves and have a good time, but we also want them to do that safely. And this is one of the reasons why we are doing the Bronx Week, Best of Bronx Week, sort of a virtual celebration.
Right.
We're showing Bronx Weeks from years past. This weekend we're going to have we're going to be, airing some past footage from the ball that we've had, at least 2 to 3 years worth. We're going to have some concerts that we had in last year's Bronx Week with, and the year before that. With Remy Ma and Coro and Hector Tricoche and Fat Joe and George Lamont and Funk Flex, because we really want to, we want to remind everybody that though we are in this really terrible place in time in history, we've got to find ways to continue to celebrate and continue to have fun.
Absolutely. Well said. And thank you for taking the time to bring it to our viewers. And for now, te mando un virtual hug. Oh my God.
I feel it.
Oh,
I feel it.
Oh, thank you, Olga. Stay right there. All right, you guys, the Bronx, the Best of the Bronx, I should say, it's going to continue to air this weekend on Optimum Channel 67 and Fios 33. And be sure to visit ilovethebronx.com and bronxnet.tv for the entire broadcast schedule. We are going to take a quick break, but when we return, we're going to hear about an event celebrating the LGBTQ community. Don't go anywhere. Everyone, welcome back to Open Remote. The FUERZAfest is the Hispanic Federation's annual Latino LGBTQ Arts Festival. And this year's, in response to COVID-19, the organization is holding its annual event online to bring strength to artists within the LGBT community during this crisis. The FUERZA translates into strength, and that's exactly what this event intends to bring to the community. Joining us to discuss more about Queerantine Fuerza, FUERZAfest, please welcome from Hispanic Federation Grant Manager, Fernando Aguilar. Hello, Fernando, ¿cómo estás?
Muy bien, gracias. Thank you so much for having me, Rhina, and for announcing Queerantine Fuerza through the Hispanic Federation, May 17th. Really appreciate it. Thanks.
Well, we love bringing this type of content into our show because I think it's important that our community know and understand the relevance and the importance of art and community, and the fact that we're all in this particular situation shouldn't stop us from having some sense of connection, right? Because basically we've been forced to alter the way we're connecting, but that doesn't mean that we should just be taken back by the circumstances.
Absolutely. And especially now's the time more than any, we come together since so many of our artists are not working right now, and a lot of which don't qualify for unemployment. It's really important for us to come together. The Hispanic Federation was really set on still continuing the program, even though, right now all funding from all, everywhere is threatened. So this was a really important program for us to still and feature our artists. It'll also, what we really want to highlight too, Rhina, is that it's going to feature a very prominent resource page. It'll be part of the FUERZAfest.org website. It'll give you resources to different helplines, food pantries, resources relating to COVID. So we really wanted to kind of anchor this with different resources for our community members now during
so
this.
basically what you're saying is like, yes, there's going to be a festival, but it's also going to provide a lot of information for the community that may be seeking different types of assistance, right?
Exactly.
And of course the basics, because at this point of the game, we're all living in survival mode.
Absolutely. And I don't want to take away from the immense and amazing art you're going to see at the FUERZAfest. You'll see spoken word, you'll see dance, you'll see puppet show, you'll see short film, you'll see many beautiful, wonderful pieces of art during the FUERZAfest. I don't want to take away from that and the artists who have contributed to that, but then also will be anchored by that resource page that, since our Latino community is so vulnerable right now, it's the biggest hit in New York City, we want to really our vulnerable community members as much as possible.
So I know we showcase a lot of Latinx community. So before this segment is over, can you just walk us through what that looks like in a virtual form?
Sure, absolutely. Well, it'll the show will premiere with a segment, a special message from RuPaul Drag Race's season 11 contestant, Sugar Cane. She's from El Salvador, so she's doing a mix of Spanish and English, get us all excited. Then we're gonna roll right into Dominican Republic artist named Jose Candelaria, who's giving us a stellar salsa performance. And then from there, you'll get artists from around the US, Puerto Rico, Spain, Argentina, and it'll go from, we'll switch it up from dance to singing to short film. Again, we have some spoken word in there, and again, a puppet show. So
a puppet show, how interesting.
Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah. We're gonna keep it lively, short, lively, little vignettes, and just keep us, like you said, keep us entertained during these turbulent times when we all need an outlet. And then also, reflected will be the resource page.
All right. So what time is this scheduled to start and what day?
Thank you for asking. 5 p.m. this Sunday, May 17th. You can do now to get ready is you can go to FUERZAfest.org. It's a quick and easy registration, and we'll keep you abreast of all of the exciting things to come for Sunday. And we'll kind of like a countdown clock on Sunday to when 5 p.m. Go and click on the link, which you will get through email since you've registered. And then you'll click on that at 5 p.m. The event will go live for 24 hours. So at any point you'd like to click on that link for 24 hours, then you can see the whole FUERZAfest virtual Queerantine.
Beautiful. Thank you. And thank you for bringing it here to our audience. I'm looking forward to it. It sounds super exciting. And you guys, once again, the virtual Queerantine FUERZAfest is going to take place on Sunday, May 17th, 5 p.m. And as Fernando mentioned, you can sign up now by registering at FUERZAfest.org. And don't go anywhere because Bobby C's Weekly Sports Roundup is coming up next.
Coronavirus spreading, people at higher risk must take extra precautions. You're at higher risk if you're over 65 or if you have an underlying medical condition. Please visit coronavirus.gov for more information.
Special guest today, Emmy Award-winning sportscaster Ryan Ruocco joining us. Ryan, how's everything going?
Good, man. Hanging in there. Missing sports, of course, but happy to talk to you, bro.
No, it's great to see you. And I know, just a few days removed from an unofficial holiday for Star Wars, May the 4th be with you, belated one. I was curious what you might have been watching on May 4th.
Yeah, so May the 4th also be with you, Bobby. We watched Rogue One to celebrate May 4th. And man, what's funny is, like, I'll occasionally go back and just watch the final Vader scene just because it's so, great if you're a Darth Vader fan. But I hadn't watched the whole movie in a while. And it's such a good movie. Like, you don't have to be a Star Wars fan to enjoy that movie.
Well, a lot of people may not be busy, but I got to tell you, for a man with many hats, you've been very busy during this pandemic. And I was just wanted to get your thoughts and curious about what it was like to host the WNBA draft virtually. That was one of the first events that we really got to see during the global pandemic.
It was cathartic almost, seeing my teammates sort of emerging from the cocoon I've been in downtown Manhattan. At that point, I hadn't left. I live in Soho. I hadn't left Soho in 5 weeks, and I went to Bristol for the WNBA draft, and I was a little nervous about that, but I had a colleague or friend or two who had been at ESPN during this time, and they're like, "Look, Bristol feels super safe. Like, everybody's taking crazy precautions," and so I trusted it, and man, I have to give an enormous amount of credit to ESPN and to everybody who runs the headquarters in Bristol, because they've done such a wonderful job of making you feel safe and cared for in this environment. And going there, I was put at ease by the distance everyone kept, the skeleton staff we've used. Even just to give you an example, even our A2, who, was in charge of our audio situation on the floor in the studio, he rolled us out new batteries out of a Lysol wipe, so like, his hand wasn't the last thing to touch it. That's how strict everyone was. And the only time we didn't have masks on is when we were on the air. And Rebecca and I on opposite sides of the desks. And, so that part of it, put me at ease. And then just getting to do an event, and a real event, it was awesome. And I was proud of our team because it took, a lot of different calls and rehearsals to make sure we had everything down virtually. We had so many different people in different locations. I thought Kathy Engelbert, the commissioner of the WNBA, was wonderful. Holly Rowe, working from Salt Lake City, was great. I thought Sue Bird, who added so much in studio with us. She was at an adjacent studio on the same floor as us, but distanced away. And then Rebecca's always the best. So it was fun, man. It was fun. And I thought it was a great time to celebrate something in sports when we really needed it after having none of it for what was at that point a 5-week period.
I know a lot of our fans at home will know you from the Yankees and the Nets, but I'm sure you're going to be excited to be hosting some New York Liberty games and some WNBA games, because the Liberty had some draft.
Sabrina Ionescu is a transformative star, and she's a generational talent, and she already has a following, and I think that's significant. And we need that next generation of stars who are going to capture an audience beyond just the diehard women's hoops fan. I think when you get her playing at Barclays Center, and when we're past this, and all of a sudden you can have Kevin Durant, who also plays in that arena, sitting courtside at a game to watch her, or you just have people coming out in New York to watch her, which they will. She's that kind of draw. I think it's going to be wonderful for our league and for the Liberty. And look, it may take a couple years for, the Liberty to translate that excitement into wins. It often does. I mean, you saw she had the back page of the Post the morning of the draft, leading into the draft. And I think that kind of thing will happen more often with Sabrina and the Liberty.
Outside of the draft, you and CC have been cooking with the podcast. I mean, doing some social distancing yourself. Talk about this kind of safe at home series that you've had. You've had some big stars on, including Yankee manager Aaron Boone.
It's been great for CC and I think, especially the first one we did, kind of gave us that sense of normalcy. Like, wow, it's just good to hear each other again and be bantering and have some laughter. I think that was sort of, when there was even more uncertainty and paranoia surrounding everything. So that's been a blessing, and getting some interesting guests on. This week we had Dexter Fowler, who's awesome, hilarious guy, great stories, and a Jordan Brand guy. So we actually have some good MJ stories, great Barry Bonds stories as well.
Ryan, I was excited to see, of course, this proposal by Major League Baseball about potentially July 1st or maybe even July 4th. And then also some of the other stories surrounding the Yankees. I really thought the story with Aaron Judge and this hashtag Real Heroes was a touching one.
We obviously lionize athletes and public figures. And, when survival is an afterthought, it's easy to do that. But when all of a sudden survival vaults back into the front of your mind rather than the back of it, it sort of changes the lens as to how we view who our heroes really are, right? And I think, athletes, just like all of us, realize like, wow, that nurse who knows she is going to, an area that she's going to be exposed to a deadly virus every day, but she's there to save others. That person's a hero, and that, that you have that doctor who's, walking into a ward of COVID-19 patients. She's a hero. He's a hero, and I think we all feel that way now. And I love that athletes and public figures have used their platforms, such as Aaron Judge has, to highlight and honor these people who, rightfully deserve this attention. And I also think, for those people, it can be energizing. And as far as baseball goes, and you mentioned the July 1st, July 4th stuff, look, none of us know a concrete plan right now. I think obviously there are still certain hurdles that have to be, leapt over in order to get to baseball. But the encouraging thing is, right now the prevailing thought and sentiment is that we will get baseball. And it seems like July is a light at the end of the tunnel right now. So obviously health and safety is going to take priority, and everything is going to be done within those confines. But it's fun to get to think about baseball in a little more of a tangible way than we've been able to in a month and a half, 2 months.
This past year was such a big year for you, filling in for Michael Kay and John Sterling. What was it like to replace Kay and Sterling this past year?
I grew up listening to both of them on the radio. Like, I literally went to Yankee games with a sign that said, we love you, Michael Kay and John Sterling, and so it was an honor to get to sub in for them. Of course, it is bittersweet because, it was as both of them were dealing with different health ailments, but thank God, they're both back and in good shape, and I'm feeling good. Michael's voice sounded amazing, in those months after the surgery. And just getting to do Yankee games, man, it's a dream come true. I grew up a diehard Yankee fan. I feel so attached to the franchise. And working from being an intern at Yes to doing the scoreboard hosting at the stadium to the different roles I've had on air with the Yes Network involving the Yankees, to being a fan obsessed with every single game growing up. In a lot of ways, that franchise is my heartbeat. I definitely had some moments last year where I allowed myself to feel the magnitude from my own world of getting to do Yankee games on that stage and let it really, really, feel it emotionally.
Well, I think it's only a matter of time before we have baseball back. And of course, you're going to get married this next year, right? In Italy?
Yeah, Bob, we had to, unfortunately, we had to bump it to June of 2021. We were due to get married in Italy this June. And while I'm happy to see that actually, as it turns out, Italy is starting to open things, back up now, and they've done a great job of, kind of flattening their curve. Obviously, it became a pretty clear decision that we were going to have to postpone it. So, gives us all something to look forward to. It stinks because we were so excited and so ready. But the reality is, everybody has had to make at least some form of sacrifice during this period of time due to this global pandemic. And if the worst one we have to make is postponing our wedding, then we're doing pretty well and we're pretty lucky. So, we'll, I'm sure, ramp the excitement back up once we get a little closer to June 2021.
Well, congrats again on the engagement. And like I said, I can't wait to see you at the ballpark, Ryan. I appreciate you taking some time.
Thanks, Bobby. I appreciate it, man. Always good to talk with you.
Dance Parade New York, this year's theme being Dance Without Borders, provides the world's only parade to exclusively celebrate and showcase the diversity of dance. Since 2006, the Dance Parade has been presenting different forms of culture through dance while also bringing people of all backgrounds together. I personally have had the honor of serving as their grandstand co-MC for the past 4 years, announcing over 10,000 dancers and 80 unique styles of dance every year. It's truly one of my all-time favorite parades, and I mean that. So, but now, like everything else, due to COVID-19, the parade is switching to an online festival. And joining us to tell us about the virtual Dance Parade, we welcome Dance Parade Technical Lead, Lee Coleman, and Dance Parade Social Media Lead, Chauncey Dandridge, and producer, Janelle Issis. Hello, everyone. I should say dancer as well, right? You guys, producer and belly dancer.
Hey, Rhina.
Hi, Rhina.
Hi, everyone. It's so great to see everyone.
Yay.
It's going to get a little tricky because we're obviously doing this video conferencing style. However, I really am super excited about the fact that the Dance Parade has chosen to move forward. And so this is going to be quite fascinating to experience. I meant it, obviously, when I said it's one of my favorite all-time parades. It really is. It's so colorful. So I can only imagine what you guys are developing in presenting it from a virtual, visually stimulating perspective. So, Chauncey, let's talk a little bit about this year's theme and who the Grand Marshals are.
Yes, well, the great thing is that Dance Parade is considered participatory art, and this gives a whole new definition to the idea of participating because everyone has to sign in and do everything through virtual means. Our Grand Marshals this year is a longtime, one of them is a longtime participant, Princess Lockaroo. She's the whacking queen of the universe. We also have David Dorfman, a very award-winning modern dance choreographer. We also have someone from the Bhangra world, Serena Jane, and also our big DJ is DJ Liquid Todd. So we always have a DJ to represent the music portion of the movement. So it's going to be really wild. If everyone goes to danceparade.org/Zoom, you can register and get all the information. Follow us on Instagram at DJ Chauncey. I'm sorry, that's my Instagram editor. Follow us at Dance Parade NYC, and you can get all the information. And like I said, Dance Without Borders is our theme this year, and we picked that before everything changed in the world. So it ended up being sort of perfect because we are really dancing without borders. So it's wonderful.
Absolutely, and on a broader scale.
Yes.
Yeah, so I want to talk to Ali about this whole new innovative style of presenting a parade. So I'm trying to visualize what that looks like. I understand that the objective is to have like 1,000 dancers dancing simultaneously. So talk to me about what that entails.
That is correct, Rhina. We decided because we were waiting. We were in the zone of not knowing up until about 2 weeks ago, and we thought, okay, we can postpone the parade. Maybe we can just wait until next year. And then some of us said, listen, the world is virtual right now. Let's just try to present something to the world. I'm a party organizer for 25 years myself as well, so I've been doing a lot of events, and I thought to myself, we could do this virtually. Like, we just have to get some content together, and we learn the technology and do it. And that's
what. Oh my goodness, that is really, really ambitious, though. 1,000 at one time.
Yeah, we figured because we're taking it outside of New York, we're used to thousands and thousands of people watching us live, and we have contributors from all over the world. So this year they can all join us.
Right. Well, this time you won't be. Are you going to be playing as well, or I mean, you don't have your bus that everybody's usually dancing around this year?
No, but I am going to be doing. I'm going to be DJing later. I'm just going to stay behind the scene because not only am I the tech, I did get the great honor of being the lead producer of the virtual parade as well. So my plate has been like, I've been in front of Zoom meetings for the last 2 weeks. Yeah, so I'm gonna play later.
Got it. So now that you mentioned producing, let's talk to the other producer who's also on this interview, who's going to actually give us a taste of some belly dance later. So Janelle, welcome.
Thank you so much. We have such an incredible team. I mean, everyone is involved in dance. Everyone has something to input. So I sometimes get to run the shows, which I love being backstage. I'm also a performer, which I'll get to perform for you in just a moment. Being a producer for Dance Parade has been incredible to do something bigger than myself, because being a solo artist in belly dance or just dance in general, you know, if you don't have your own tribe, it can be a little odd. So these guys everybody is part of this amazing team, and we've learned so much. I mean, the tech side, the backstage, I got to design floats for 2 years. So it's been really incredible to be a part of Dance Parade.
Yeah, so you switched from floats to virtual coordination. Yes. So can somebody share what kind of dance we should be expecting in this virtual party? I mean, this virtual parade and festival? All the different cultures, everything. As many as you can name.
Go for it.
No, Janelle said it. I agree. I was going to say the same word. Everything. Yeah.
But I want to hear some dance styles, just so that people are aware. I know it's everything, but I want them, whomever's watching, to understand that this is really, really a global parade.
Janelle?
Hip-hop, flamenco. There's going to be Chinese cultural dancing, belly dancing, contemporary, jazz, ballet. I mean, you name it, it's there. Like, I think there's names of styles that I've never heard of in my entire life, which is really one of the coolest things, because we look at each other, we're like, what is that?
Yeah.
You know? So
we're also going to be doing some dance battles with cash rewards. We did a big event that was worldwide. We received nearly 200 entries to something that we created called Dare to Dance. And we received entries from all over the world. So we're going to announce the winners as well. We're going to have the Grand Marshals doing interviews. We're going to have a live DJ. It's going to be
classes.
Yeah, fantastic.
So let's talk a bit about what the day looks like. Tell me because I understand there's going to be classes, as he just mentioned. So just walk me through the day of being in this virtual parade.
Well, just like when we have our parade in real life, we have the parade itself, and then we have the festival at Tompkins Square Park usually. So what will be happening is there's going to be a breakout room. Ali can talk a little bit more about that. The breakout room will have more of the where you would have been, the grandstand.
Right.
There's going to be a flash mob with Princess Lakaru. There's going to be, like you said, the dance battles. There's going to be DJs playing. We're going to be spotlighting different costumes and different traditions, different dances all throughout the entire broadcast.
Right. And so, but it starts at 1, right? And
starts at 1 p.m. Yeah. If you go to danceparade.org/Zoom, you can register and you'll get all the information. You'll get the full itinerary. And also, don't forget that the New York Dance Police will still be there to make sure that everything.
I'm so excited. You know, I love the Dance Police. How are they going to track everybody if they can't see them?
I know. No, actually, we've gone through extensive training, and we'll be spotlighting, and we'll be finding people on the Zoom. We have had many meetings, so we'll be finding people and making sure that if they're not having a good time, they're not dancing. We'll let them know that they got to start moving. So it's going to be
get a virtual ticket. They're going to get a virtual ticket from the Dance Police if they're not dancing. You guys are so much fun. I just love this family so much. I really do. And I congratulate you all on making sure that this is still happening in spite of the circumstances. And thank you all for being here with us today. We have to take a quick break, but when we return, our next guest, not our next guest. It's going to be Janelle. She's going to show us some of her belly dancing. So you definitely don't want to go anywhere.
Network for you.
BronxNet TV.
Come learn in your new state-of-the-art studios at Lehman College.
At Mercy College.
And coming soon to the South Bronx in the Hub.
Inspire with your stories, culture, history.
Your Bronx on BronxNet.
Engage with us.
Connect with us at your channels and at BronxNet.tv.
Learn, engage, inspire. BronxNet TV.
From the Bronx
to the world.
BronxNet.
time for this week's Open Artist Spotlight. Here now to perform is belly dancer. Please welcome Janelle Isis. Yes, Janelle Isis. And there you have it, guys. You just got a taste of this year's dance parade. This year's virtual dance parade, I should say. And don't forget, it kicks off on Saturday at 1 p.m. And to register for the parade, you can go online and visit danceparade.org/Zoom. And of course, to take classes with Janelle, you can follow her on Instagram at jbellyburn.
Thank you, guys.
That's it. Oh, thank you. All right, you guys, that's today's show, mi gente. Thanks to all our guests for coming through, and to you, our viewers, for tuning in. If you missed any part of the show, you can check out the recable cast tonight and 24 hours a day at BronxNet.tv. I'm Rhina Valentin, and from all of us here at Open, may the universe provide paz, prosperity, y amor. Stay Bronx strong, safe, and healthy.